words said in the aftermath are just too confusing. Now I spend my days watching you throw stones at someone who's already dead. And if this is the way we all begin, then how can I ask for any more?
It's been a quiet week here at the Stages of Minnesota My Theater show, where the reviews are truthful but never hurtful. Excuse me, I had something canceled in my throat. I'm Rob Dunkelberger, and this is the Stages of Minnesota. This week in theater is like the week after Christmas, but in July, and warmer. Most of the shows have closed before the holiday, and the few that will open between now and the launch of the 2025-26 theater season are waiting until after the 4th of July weekend. We've got just one review for you this week, Stephen Sondheim's Passion, running through this weekend, July 13th at Theater La Di Da. We'll also be revisiting Endometriosis the Musical, with some new audience reactions to that show, which was my pick of the weekend on episode 2. And yes, we will have our weekly roundup of who I saw at the theater this week. But first, we have a new segment called Theater Couples, where I talk to a couple who are both part of the theater community. We hope, through these segments, to get an understanding and appreciation of the unique nature of theater couples. My first theater couple are Ryan Lee and Tod Petersen. Let's take a look. I'm sitting here with Tod Petersen and Ryan Lee in their lovely St. Paul condo for the first in a series of segments called Theater Couples. Ryan and Tod, hey. I'm so excited to have you both as the first theater couples, because you both, whether you know it or not, have a connection to the Stages of Minnesota. Tod, the first time I ever spoke on stage as a theater blogger in front of a crowd was when I was with you at a talk back after the prom.
Really?
Yep.
That was the first one?
That was the first time ever. And
you
it
were
was
slick.
I was very nervous because you, Michael Brindisi, Monty Hayes, and Maya Richardson, and you all made it so relaxing and easy, and it made me realize that I could go out of my comfort zone. And that was the first step in taking the Stages of Minnesota off the page. Thank you.
I'm your doula.
Yes. So faithful viewers, if you hate the show, it's not all my fault. You can lay some of the blame on Tod here. Okay. And Ryan, you generously allowed me to use your music in the show. And I hope, have you seen an episode yet?
I have, yeah.
Do you regret that decision?
No, not at all. I wish I gave you more to play with. But more to come.
Now, songwriting can be very personal. And there's a song called Wish that I use under the At a Show With segment. Listen to the song, it has a very clear message with it, which does not at all match with what I'm using it for. And it didn't bother you to have it used in a way that didn't reflect that. Good.
No.
That's a relief. I was a little worried about that. How did you two meet? Please tell me it was around theater.
It was, yeah. Do you want to take it?
Sure. I've never dated anybody that I didn't meet in a show. So,
because where do you meet people?
Where do you meet people?
Work.
And we worked together at Interact Center, and we just met making theater together.
Yeah, I started volunteering there, doing some music stuff, and then we were kind of ships passing. After a few years, we started working on a show together in the spring, and that was kind of when we started hanging out all the time.
What was your first show together?
The show was called Hot Jazz at the Funky Butt. It was like a jazzy New Orleans show about a jazz singer, and there was a jazz band that came up from New Orleans. But so we met there.
So let's take a step back. Tod, let's start with you. How did you get into acting?
I think the very first invitation was watching my dad watch the Red Skelton show.
Sure.
But I saw my dad laughing at the TV at this clown, And I thought, oh, that's how I'll get his attention. And so I think I started being the funny guy.
Sure.
There. And my parents always took us to theater. We would see shows at the university and at the high school and at the community theater, and I just always thought, you know, I want to do that from the very first show I saw.
That's so important for parents to take young people to theater to expose them to it. That chance to have that moment, like, oh, that looks like that calls to me.
Their response even goes further in that not only did we attend theater, but when I said I want to be in a play, I want to do that, they found the auditions for me, I suppose, and took me to the auditions and the rehearsals, and they supported me doing it, not just dreaming about it.
Sure.
My earliest memories are doing 4-H plays when I was like probably 11, 12, and I just remember loving everything from you know, being goofy on stage, but then being backstage with your friends and cutting up and waiting for your entrances, and when the tech happens and you're watching the lights, and then even in a 4-H silly goofy thing where you're, you know, ooh, the set's coming in, and like, and I still have that where I'm just like the biggest tech nerd, where I'm just like, oh, tech starts today, and oh, I can't wait for the lights, and still, I mean, the community aspect of it for me is kind of the, oh, I can be part of this.
Sure.
Like, we can all, and isn't this fun? Like, we're all doing this together and being silly. And
So, do you guys like to work together, or is that something you avoid?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're always looking for opportunities to, I mean, and we have quite a bit, but
What's the last show you did together?
we did Tales and Tunes in the fall, a show that we did together with Todd's stories and my songs. We did that at the Hive for a week for 5 shows we did. Prior to that, we did Once together last summer. Right at this time, we did Once up at Lahamadou.
And I directed Ryan in a production of Woody Guthrie's American Song, which I think should be produced in the Twin Cities, especially right now.
Finding that
Yeah.
that moment to put something together.
Right, that simultaneous window.
Right.
It can be tricky.
Yeah, that's got to be a tricky thing with couples. One of you books a show or has booked 3 shows in a row, and the other one hasn't gotten anything. How does that work in the relationship? Is that hard, or?
Not really. I mean, I'm doing a lot of shows and stuff, but I have a career in my real estate. I have a career that I'm building, that I'm doing. I'm doing theater for fun and for community, and I want to do cool shows, and I want to do as many as possible. But at the same time, if I don't book something, my rent's not going to be dependent on it, or my, you know, I don't have that pressure of it. So I don't really feel like we're kind of on a different wavelength as far as what we're doing and why we're doing this. Not that you don't want to do cool projects and all that, but this is your career, where he's been a working actor for so many years so I don't feel any competition. I don't feel any jealousy if there's, oh no, you booked another thing.
And
Great.
I haven't gotten anything.
I know, yeah.
And we both do stay pretty busy, so there aren't a lot of opportunities for
that.
For jealousy.
Sure. Do you give each other notes on your performances?
Good ones, positive,
Okay.
Yeah.
encouraging, supportive, kind. I would never.
Unless you're directing, then I have to take your notes.
Oh yeah, you were pissy about that.
Yeah.
Which is why there's a no policy.
Yeah, he thought when we did Arsenic and Old Lace, he thought I was being harder on him than I was with the other actors, and maybe I was, just to show the other actors that
There was no favoritism.
yeah. But I'm a pretty nice
Right.
director. I was never rude.
Yeah. You don't ever want to tear apart somebody's show that you're in, you know, even if it's maybe, you know, not that we're in things that you can tear apart anyway, but, you know, it's just a delicate.
But as a working actor, you don't always have, hey, you get offered a job. There's not another one laying around. You take it. Maybe it's not your favorite play or a musical, but it's a job and you need a job.
No problem.
Right.
Yep.
That's being
Sign
a
me
professional.
up.
That's been my guiding light from day one. I told my parents after college that I was going to be an actor, and I said, don't worry, I'm going to be a blue-collar actor. I'm just going to take whatever job. I don't have stars in my eyes. I just want to work and pay my bills doing theater, and don't worry about me. And that worked.
It worked. Even the best play, sometimes the vision, the direction, whatever, just doesn't come together.
Right. And sometimes there's no identifiable reason why it's not working. You can't even figure out why it's not flying.
So what's the biggest challenge of being a theater couple?
Trying to book long-term travel or like vacation plans.
This is a current topic
Because
right
a
now.
gig might be on the gig might be on the horizon.
But it's truly important that we just work all the time, or set aside time, even if it means turning down work. Set aside time just to vacation, just to chill, just to go camping and kayaking, and which is
And replenish the relationship.
yeah. But then somebody gives you a call and says, we need you. Me? Okay.
Well, think about it.
It's
Sign
very-
me up. Where do I sign?
It's very,
Yeah.
job offers are very seductive.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Hard to say no.
So what's the best thing about being a theater couple?
I mean, getting to watch your person do their thing.
And I'm thinking
Different
about
character and-
we got to
Yeah.
be in once together, and that was really featured Ryan and his guitar and his musicianship, and it was kind of his story. And to have a front row seat on stage for every performance, even every rehearsal, and watching his leadership in the rehearsal room, and just using every corner of his talent. That was really cool to be right there the whole time,
That's great.
and to have an easy part where I could.
Were you like the bank manager?
I was
my
his,
dog.
I was his father.
So we had
okay.
those sweet dog eye
Yeah.
scenes together that are just, man, those are some sweet scenes. That scene at the end with them where he's leaving, and yeah.
Insert daddy joke here.
Yeah, we won't go there. Is there a role that one or the other of you have played that the other was maybe a little envious of, that you wish you had gotten? Do you compete in auditions? Do you ever audition for the same
Not
things?
usually. I don't know if we ever have.
Not really, not for.
If we were to be called in for the same thing, I would predict that neither one of us would get it, because we're different enough that if it's a Ryan Lee role and a Tod Petersen role, it's probably in neither one of those dudes.
Sure.
It's probably,
Right.
probably somebody in between the two of us. I liked your part in Legally Blonde, that Kiki.
Oh, yeah.
that
Kiki in the hair
hairdresser,
salon?
Yeah. I could tear that up.
What's your best shared theater story?
Last summer at La Hamadou. I mean, just the whole, not only being in the show together, but having a month up in Alexandria doing theater on the lake, like doing a summer theater camp, sitting by the fire every night with the cast, going over to the lake.
Kayaking all day and
I mean, it was idyllic. I mean, it was a month away from.
eating meals together. There was Steak Fest 2024 happened
Yeah.
that summer.
So it's like you're on vacation, but
Uh-huh.
also both
Yeah,
working
right.
and doing it together.
Right.
Perfect storm.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great.
We've also done. I mean, we went to Thailand for a month when we were early on, when we were 2 months together, and got to do music and theater over in Thailand with kids, and so that's unforgettable. We've done some stuff in Honduras. 2 times we went to Honduras and taught music and put together little shows in the mountains of Honduras. So we've had a lot of really amazing, unforgettable theater experiences together for sure.
We lived in a tent in Prior Lake one summer. I was working at the Chanhassen. It was the summer we got married, and so to save money for our 3-month honeymoon in Honduras, we lived in a tent on a friend's hobby farm to save money.
All summer.
Wow.
All summer. He was playing gigs, and I was doing Joseph, and that was a fun summer.
Yeah.
Crazy. Is there a dream project you'd love to do together?
I want more. I would like more of our this Tales and Tunes thing that we did last fall. I'd like to do more of that. My stories, Ryan songs. It really worked well as a theater piece. The back and forth, story song.
What advice would you give other theater couples? Like maybe somebody who just started dating, they're both in a show.
Teamwork.
Don't have kids. Don't have pets. Keep your expenses low. No.
Find a day job
Right.
that works around your theater schedule. I really think that don't get jealous. I really think teamwork can really be supportive and encouraging and happy, and for the really thinking of it, the marriage as a team. I think that would help. It does help with the crazy showbiz part of our lives.
Right.
We're in this together. Sometimes it's hard and embarrassing and painful, and sometimes it's glorious and easy and fabulous, and just staying connected through all of that.
Supporting each other. Don't let the jealousy
And I also
ever rear its head.
I also think it's good to let the other person kind of sit in a poopy diaper for a while if things are like, if you don't get something you really want, or if you're if you're I haven't done a show for a while, or I just am not feeling creatively inspired. It's good to be encouraging. Oh, something will come around, but it's also like if you go in for that callback and you don't book it and you're bummed, it's okay to that sucks. Like, I'll be bummed with you for a while, and you both know you've gone through it. We've all had those. Oh man, I really wanted that, so letting not dismissing the disappointment when it's there, because that's valid too.
Now we're going to play a little quiz game. And for the first portion of this game is nonverbal. So I want you to either point at yourself or at your husband.
I like these games.
Okay.
There are no right or wrong answers.
Well,
these are just for fun and to give you something to fight about after we leave.
Great.
okay.
Who's more likely to forget their lines? Who's more likely to show up late for a call time?
I just did.
In an emergency, who should take charge?
Well,
Okay.
I'm a really good Boy Scout.
true. That's true.
Who's the better cook? Who does more laundry?
I love it.
Who does more cooking?
Who does more cooking? The not good cook.
He's better. I get the tummy filled.
Sure. Who said I love you first? Who proposed?
We don't remember. You think you?
Hey, we should get married. It's kind of like that. Sure.
We don't remember.
Kind of like.
Was this?
Yeah, sure. We always.
We were very
felt
drunk
married.
and
Yeah.
in Vegas.
We always kind of felt married the whole time.
did
that.
So it was
That
kind
was-
of just like we should get married.
We were kind of an instant.
Okay.
An instant.
You found
here
you
he
knew you
is.
found your person.
Here he is. Great. Yep.
Who's a better singer? Okay, and now this is the only question that has a correct answer. Who has more talent? The correct answer is always the other person to that. Okay, now these are verbal.
Okay.
What's your husband's favorite color?
Baby blue, like a sky blue, and like a nice, periwinkle maybe.
Green.
Yep. What kind of green?
Foresty.
Correct.
Name the physical attribute that you find most attractive about your husband.
His arms and his legs, I'd say. Like hairy.
Okay, I'm going there. Robert Redford was a big part of my sexual awakening, and the Robert Redford, the golden beauty of my husband,
Oh, okay.
the
Nice.
Robert Redfordness of it all.
Redford. Well,
And what's your husband's best quality?
Kindness.
eternal optimism.
Those are beautiful answers.
Yeah.
What's your favorite performance that you've seen your husband give?
Once.
Mine are tied, Man in Chair and Barry Glickman.
All right, thanks for playing that quiz. Before we go, what projects do you guys have coming up? We weren't sure when we shot this if certain upcoming projects would be announced before we posted this. They were not, so they have been edited out of the interview. Both Todd and Ryan have exciting projects coming up. Todd especially has multiple jobs lined up and other offers to choose between, and that's what he's referencing after this insert. Anything else coming up?
That's it for now. Hopefully another Tales and Tunes if we can figure out when.
Sure.
That's kind of something I'd like to do sooner than later, but...
And Todd, I know you've got a few things in the hopper that you cannot talk about.
Yeah, for sure. I'm doing a couple things. And then there's another super cool thing, like toward the end of 2026 that I really can't say anything about, but super fun.
Okay.
It's a lucky season. It's a lucky moment amidst all of the difficult and challenging rejections and frustrations and confusions. Every once in a while,
you're showered with.
And I'm having one of those.
Great. Well, that's great. You deserve it.
Well,
you deserve it.
everybody-
It is a hard life.
Everybody does.
It's a joyful life,
Right.
but it's also, there's a lot of no's and rejections and things like that. So you gotta have a thick skin, but when it comes around and you really hit that mark, brings joy to me. That's for sure.
Thanks, Rob. You're the best.
Oh, you guys are the
Really.
best.
I always brag about the bloggers whenever I see any of you.
Thank
What you do for us is really, really special, positive, kind.
We try.
It means a lot.
Yeah.
Because sometimes sometimes it's not kind, and you're just the way that the bloggers treat us is really special.
Well, thank you so
Thank you,
much
Rob.
for having me into your house,
Sure.
for
Thank you.
talking with me, for being the first on here, for giving me that confidence at the very beginning
Sure.
to go outside of my comfort zone, making it easy, for your music, which I've become a huge fan of the music, besides using it in the show. So I love it. I can't wait to hear what your next album is. Are you working on something?
Not specifically, but it's on my mind.
Sure.
It might be a thing for coming up here after this next project. Yeah, I think it's time pretty soon to kind of dive into something new, but
Great.
yeah.
Maybe I can get you to compose something specific
Right.
for me.
I
That would be
know.
cool. Well, I want to once again thank Ryan and Todd for having me into their home, for talking to me, for being on the show, for the use of the music and their support. We will link to all of the things that we can link to in the show notes. One of the most important challenges facing theaters is building new audiences. It's a topic I bring up a lot, that we must bring young people into the theater and show them what a unique and wonderful experience it can be. And believe me, I practice what I preach. The best way to get people to return to the theater is to take them to a show that you know they will love. If they have a great time at the theater, they'll want to repeat the experience. Endometriosis, the musical, is one of those shows that you want to take everyone you know to see. My wife and I loved it so much that I went back to see it again. Something that with my schedule, I rarely have the luxury of doing. And this time, we took along our daughter and two of her friends. As with my last trip to the show, I brought along the Stages of Minnesota microphone for some post-show audience reactions. Let's take a look. So we're back at Endometriosis, the musical at Theater in the Round, which runs through July 13th, so you've got one more week to see it. This was my second time. I brought some young people with me this time, and they all enjoyed it. Here with Candace, you just saw Endometriosis, the musical. What did you think?
I loved it. We saw it at the Fringe, and we saw a stage reading of it, so it's really great to see the full production. I'm a huge fan of everything about this production, Maria's writing. I know Maria, her writing in this is amazing. There's a co-writer, I don't know her, but moi to everybody involved. The actors, it's amazing. I loved it. The music, catchy. We're going to be singing it on the way home.
Now we're here with Sarah. And what did you think of endometriosis?
I just think it's such a great show. The music is so good, and of course the message is great, and it's funny, and the actors are amazing, and their voices are just beautiful. Yeah, I just really thought it was a wonderful evening. Yeah, I think it really made the show pop and just kind of brought the fun to a topic that could probably be pretty hard to talk about.
As somebody who struggles with reproductive health issues myself, I thought it was a very poignant take on the entire process that most women who are diagnosed with these issues go through.
And was this your first experience with this show?
Yes, it was.
What's your favorite part?
Ooh, that's a hard take. There are so many funny jokes in there. I just can't pick a favorite.
This is Savannah. What did you think of the show?
I thought it was funny. I liked it. Yeah.
Who is your favorite character?
The guy who played Brad, all of his characters.
Pussy porridge. Is that a euphemism only a mother could love?
I don't think, my mom had a real hoot and a holler about it. But I've said pussy around her before, and she does not like it. I like it, though. Pussy porridge is good.
What was your favorite part of this production?
I don't know. I like the jokes. I like the costume design. I like how it's in a circle, and it's good at every angle. I thought it was funny. I thought it was fun.
So I'm here with...
Sabrina.
And Sabrina, what did you think of the show?
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was a really good representation of endometriosis and how it affects women.
It's a difficult subject to talk about, as they touch on in there, but I think through song, it's a little easier to talk about.
Yes, I loved that there were so many points that they made in the songs that were very relatable. And like the section at Applebee's where it was like TMI. That was the most relatable thing I've experienced with endometriosis and the musical.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. I know it's the creators' one of their favorite songs, too. What about the costumes?
The costumes, I loved the exaggerated tie, and I loved the purple and pink scheme. That was really good.
Okay, I'm here with Caleb, and you were here opening night as I was, so this is your second time. What'd you think this time?
Oh, it's so much better. It's nice when you get to see a piece and it comes together more after time, especially a comedy.
But it felt like there were a few little bits that they added that were even better.
Yeah. I mean, they're a good group that knows each other really well, too. So I'm sure that they're like, well, why don't we try this tonight or why don't we try this tonight? It just happens when you work on a piece for a long time. Right. Yeah. Thrilled that we have new work happening in Minneapolis.
Yes, it's so good. And I can't imagine that this show doesn't have legs to go on beyond this.
Please, let it continue. Keep growing it, keep changing it. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm here with Taylor and Emma. Emma, let's start with you. How many musicals have you seen before?
This is my second musical.
Taylor?
I've seen a few. I've seen maybe 2 or 3.
What did you guys think of this one?
I thought it was great. It was very fun to watch.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. I really liked it.
What was your favorite part of it? Was it the songs, the costumes, the characters, or the truths that they spoke?
I thought the characters were really funny and the singing was really good. I liked how they talked about women's health, it needs to be talked about. It was good.
The honesty behind everything that they were saying.
Pussy porridge. Is it a euphemism only a mother could love?
Yeah.
I love it. Pussy porridge.
Okay, thank you so much for talking to me. Thanks for coming to the show. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I'm here with M. Rosenberg. What did you think of the show?
Oh, I thought it was beautiful.
Whoa, Nellie. Whoa. Calm down. Okay, you're right. It was beautiful.
I know. It was beautiful. It was so funny. I was laughing every single scene. And I thought it was really well constructed. Like a fringe show and then also a relevant post-fringe, So good to see without that, too.
And it was about 45 minutes then, and now it's about 3 times that long. And I think it's incredible. It doesn't feel overlong. It doesn't feel overstuffed. I love this new version. I hope it goes on beyond this.
Yeah, me too. I've heard a lot about the writer. And the music was so well constructed too. Like, it was just beautiful. So I can really imagine a life for it post Theater in the Round. Yeah.
And it's got everything. The costumes are great. I mean, this cast is phenomenal. Yes. The lighting even. I mean, everything about this show is just hits, and I hope people come out and see it.
Yeah, I really do. And it's a very, very important message, too, period. It really is. And
no pun intended.
No pun intended. But that was how the show ended, and I agreed. Yes.
Great. Thanks for talking to me. Good to see you.
You too.
At Endometriosis, the musical at Theater in the Round, which runs through July 13th, so you've got one more week. Everybody will love this show, so come out and see it. Endometriosis, the musical, runs through this weekend, July 13th. We'll link to the theater's website in the show notes so you can purchase tickets. If you haven't already caught it, I urge you not to miss your chance. Now, here's my Minnesota Honest review of Passion by Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine, also running through July 13th at Theater La Tida. Whether it moves me to cheers or tears, puts me to sleep or gets me up on my feet, these are my Minnesota Honest reviews. Truthful, but not hurtful. Passion is a musical by the late Stephen Sondheim, music and lyrics, and James Lapine, book. The plot of Passion is based on a film called Passion d'amour, which itself was based on the novel Fosca, neither of which I've seen or read, and I'm sure most of you haven't either, so let's not pretend that we have and move right along. The story follows a soldier named Giorgio and opens with him in bed with his lover Clara. He must leave soon for a new post in the country. They are very much in love, and they sing of how much they will miss each other. This establishes an image of romantic love that will be as hard to maintain on stage as it is in real life. And real-life complications will be revealed that change how we view that relationship. At his new post, he is introduced to Fosca, the cousin of his commanding officer, Colonel Risi. Fosca is bedridden with unnamed illnesses, and Giorgio's kindness towards her leads to Fosca developing an obsession for him. He does everything he can to discourage her attentions. At one point, the doctor, the army doctor, not the Time Lord, convinces Giorgio that in order to save Fosca's life, he must go and visit her in her room. This only deepens the obsession, creating further entanglements. Later, the doctor realizes what Fosca's obsession is doing to Giorgio and regrets his part in enabling Fosca's infatuation. Fosca's behavior would be called stalking by today's standards, and it's actually quite distressing the ways in which Fosca manipulates and tries to control Giorgio. The single wrong note in the plot is Giorgio's position at the end of the show. The message it sends is confusing, and for those who identify more with Fosca in the play than with Giorgio, possibly dangerous. The cast is great. In the lead role of Giorgio is Dylan Frederick, whom I'm not as familiar with as most of the cast. Frederick is well cast. Vocally, he is superb and brings a frustrated desperation to the character as he feels himself being irrevocably mired in Fosca's web. Fosca is played by Erin Capello, again, amazing vocally, but also incredibly convincing as the tragic and selfish Fosca. She has to play it so that the characters on stage don't necessarily fully realize the manipulations, but we, the audience, can clearly see where every request is leading. Isa Condo-Olvera is radiant as Clara, with a light and lovely demeanor that illustrates the deep contrast between Fosca and Clara. If Fosca is rain, Clara is sunshine. Condo-Olvera is well cast as sunshine. Eric Morris and Bradley Greenwald are, as always, exceptional as Colonel Risi and the Doctor. The remaining cast have small roles, but lend big voices to the background. When we saw that the cast included three of what my wife calls her all is calm boys, Phineas Bynum, Riley McNutt, and Rodolfo Nito, I expected them to have larger roles. But it just goes to show how when dealing with the complexity of a Sondheim score, you need the highest quality singers even in the background. The production is directed by Theater La Ti Da's artistic director Justin Lucero, and the music director is Jason Hansen. Their work goes a long way to making this a worthwhile endeavor for those on the fence regarding Sondheim's less mainstream musicals. The scenic and lighting design by Paul Whitaker are extremely creative, with curtains used to create space for scenes like the fuzzy edges of memories. The lighting contributes to some very dramatic visual tableaus, as can be seen in the gorgeous production photos by gifted local theater photographer Dan Norman. The costumes by Amber Brown are also very evocative, particularly the use of color in the garbs of Clara and Fosca, which visually represent their roles very clearly. What says romantic eroticism quite as well as a woman in a white flowing bed dress worn off one shoulder? Nothing comes to mind. Passion runs through July 13th at Theater La Ti Da's Ritz Theater in North Minneapolis. We'll post a link in the show notes to Theater La Ti Da's website where you can purchase tickets. Now, let's take a look at who I ran into at the theater this week.
Do I really have to go? Hard pressed to find a reason to brave the cold. So warm inside your cabin, give me just another moment. Wrapped inside the blanket of your body, the blanket of your body. Time to hit the open road. Loving arms await me, their domain knows me alone. Never a single question, 35 years full of holiday cheer, and still no invitation for my +1.
That wraps up another episode of The Stages of Minnesota, but don't be sad. We'll be back next week when The Stages of Minnesota hits the road to report on the Great River Shakespeare Festival in Winona, Minnesota, with reviews of Romeo and Juliet and The Comedy of Errors, and maybe another show to make up for the one you were shorted this week. I want to thank Tod Petersen and Ryan Lee for being on the first of hopefully many theater couples segments. Remember to check out the show notes for links to all of the theaters and shows we mentioned on this episode. Remember, if you see me at a show, don't be shy. Say hi. Ask for a picture, and you may find yourself on The Stages of Minnesota. If you have comments, questions, suggestions of topics you'd like to see covered, or are interested in sponsoring an episode, email me at robdunkelberger@thestagesofmn.com. Thanks as always to Ryan Lee for the generous use of his music. Every note of music used on The Stages of Minnesota comes from his albums, which you can download at ryanlee.bandcamp.com. Remember, you can read all of my reviews on my blog at thestagesofmn.com, whether you're watching the YouTube edition or listening to the podcast version. Remember, no one ever said you couldn't do both. If you enjoyed the show, please help spread the word. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review the show. By doing that, you increase the chance that someone who isn't a regular theater goer might come across the show and decide to head out to the theater. Remember, subscriptions are free, so you don't need a promo code to get one. But if you're the kind of person who won't do anything online unless you have a promo code, you can use TSOMNLMNOP. Until next week, remember the words with which Carol Jackson taunts small children and orphans. Go see a show, go see a show, go see a show.
'Cause it's all over but the shouting. Every soul needs light. My mind's been wasting away in the afternoon shade, out of sight. And I am not the pure and perfect one, but my branches are still bent toward